remember me, if you were at the last meeting, telling you what I did with the food for the homeless and showing you some of the pictures of the food that I get from Morrison's. What happened at the last meeting is I asked everybody to bring a packed lunch, and we asked people to donate the packed lunches so that we could go and give them to the homeless, which was basically where the street kitchens grew from, isn't it, the Leeds one?
Absolutely.
So unfortunately that night I got a call from Morrison saying you've got to be back in Leyland for 9 o'clock to pick up 28 boxes. So I shot off back with all the sandwiches, but there are some pictures coming on in a minute, hopefully, of when I went into Preston the day after and gave all the sandwiches out, spoke to the homeless people there, asked them what they needed. We were going to go into the Preston area, but obviously we decided that we wanted to set up a main base in Leeds to start the street kitchen. So the pictures will appear when they appear. So what happened is Toddy and Brett, where are you, Brett? He's there. Hiding. Toddy and Brett came down every Wednesday for a few weeks. Saw how I did things, saw the amount of food that they had to cook, the boxes that I pick up from Morrison's. It isn't a couple of hour job, it's literally 2 days out of my week. I go and pick the boxes up. I've only got a little car, so I usually have to do a couple of trips to get all the stuff home. Then I have to go through the boxes. And we sort out, don't we? We split everything.
Yeah.
You tell them a bit about
that. Yeah, I mean, getting the boxes, I mean, just the weight content, you know, and that's pretty hard graft as it is, you know, transporting from one place to another. And like Lou says, it's 2 trips there. And then she's got to wait, if there's delivery trucks in the way, she's got to wait till they're out of the way, and then she can go in. So, but once these boxes have been picked, I mean, there's all sorts in it. There's fruit, veg, breakfast bars, there's chocolate bars, crisps, drinks,
baked beans,
all sorts,
teas.
So,
you sort of look what you've got. I mean, this week I got a box full of capers and olives, and I'm like, what am I going to do with that? So you know, I have no idea. I'm still working that one out. So yeah, Toddy and Brett came down for a few weeks. They came to the street kitchen in Blackburn, saw how we did that. And then what we did, once you'd pretty much figured out, we decided, we met Hayden, there's Hayden in Leeds with his group, and we decided that the best night was a Sunday night.
Yeah, there were a gap for Sunday, and Sunday being obviously a Sunday, it worked well, you know. I mean, for me, at the end of the day, going down to Blackburn, going down to Leyland, and then from Lewes all the way through to Blackburn, the people that we were meeting down there, you know, I'd say 30% of the people had a drink or drug dependency. The rest were pretty clean. Yeah. But within that, there's the spice issue, which I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with what spice is. It's the in drug now, and they get absolutely off their heads that much, where they're frothing at the mouth and collapsing and all sorts of stuff, and it's pretty scary stuff.
Yeah, we had one incident in Blackburn where everybody queues up. We're pretty organised, and one of the lads just went down, literally collapsed, and he was having fits and he was frothing at the mouth. It's really bad. You don't know what this drug does until you actually see it for yourself, and I've been a nurse and it shocked me. So he was in the recovery position, and we waited 1 hour and 10 minutes for the ambulance to come, because they don't care about, you know, if they know somebody's homeless, they're not going to bother. And it is really bad. I mean, we've seen it a few times in Leeds as well.
We went, I think it was a couple of weeks later, we went to, what's the place at the back? Salvation Army, to drop a load of food off that were left over. And there were a guy against the railings one day, and he were in a really bad way. But if anybody knows what spice is, a lot of it's been introduced into the prison system. So it's getting into the prison system, and they're getting absolutely off their head. So when they're being released, if they've got nowhere to live, that continues, and then it encroaches on the other people that are homeless as well, and it's pushed onto them. But pretty much what it is it's a tranquiliser, is what spice is. That's the makeup of it. It's to transport whales and sharks from one place to another, because you can't have a big shark kicking its tail about in an HGV. It closes the motorway off. So what it does is it closes the central nervous system down, And that, what they're doing is they're putting this into like a cannabis substitute kind spliff, if we can put it that way. They smoke it and they just get absolutely wired, and then the central nervous system starts closing down. So that's what we're up against on the streets quite a lot. Hayden will back that up as well. He's seen quite, well, he's seen more than we have, really and truly, but it's a tranquiliser, and that's what they're using to escape reality. There's one individual that we meet all the time, and he's constantly on it, but you can smell it. And the reason why they call it spicy is because it's spicy. You can smell it emits from them. But that's pretty much where we are. Jason, have we got these pictures sorted, please?
We are.
Is he getting there?
Also, what happens as well, what people don't understand, they think if somebody's actually got a bed and they're in a hostel, that's the end of the story. But what happens, especially in these private hostels, they get a certain allowance from the government. So say somebody gets a room, that hostel will get, just to grab a figure, they'll get £500 a month, if not more. If that person has mental health issues, they'll get more money. But then, because they've got an address, that person can then get a benefit, they can then claim because they've got an address. So they'll get £120 a fortnight, but the hostel will take £50 out of that a week for their bedroom. So they're left with £10 a week. So it's not a case of you're just going to get into a hostel and you'll be all right. It's a never-ending cycle. And how are these people going to save money up? And how are they going to be able to put a deposit on a flat or buy food or buy clothes? So what we find is we're not just dealing with homeless people, we're dealing with people that are in some sort of accommodation that can't afford to live, can't afford to buy shoes, can't afford to eat. And we have also families that come down, haven't we?
Yeah, there's a group every week that come down. There's about 4 or 5 of them, isn't there? And they come down and they take the packed lunches away, which we put bags together and what have you, and they take that away, which is going to last them a day or two. But unfortunately, on the Monday, there's Leeds Owners Partnership, so it's in that scenario, what we give them in hot food-wise on the day, they're getting a packed lunch, which takes them through to the next day, which then they can then return back to Leeds City Centre, or should I say, City Square, and they can come and then and have more hot food on a Monday with a packed lunch again. So it's pretty much we're doing exactly the same routine as what these guys do, and it does help them out. They come, they're nice, they're polite. We've had to set sort of like standards now, because we are getting it sometimes where they're coming down and they've had a drink. We're having to say to them now, listen, if you come down and you've had a drink, you ain't getting served, because we've got to put that ruling in there, because at the end of the day we ain't just got Leeds City Council watching us, we've got the police watching us, we've got obviously the restaurants that are nearby, which we've got a really good rapport with. I mean, they fill our flats up every week, yeah, without fail. There's no issue, but we're trying to keep the trouble and the noise down, which is, it gets a bit sort of like, you know, funny at times, but the majority of the people that come are on their best behaviour, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know, they know that at the end of the day, if there's any messing about, any kicking off, we'll just say to them, we're packing up and we're off. And Hayden's one of the ones that's kicked that off quite before we set up, so they sort of like already know that if they do mess about, they're spoiling it for all of them. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I think you picked well. Sort your pictures.
So anyway, what we did, going back to going into Leeds, I said that I would give you 6 weeks, didn't I?
Yeah.
Because it's a long way for me. I'm from Leyland, and I was cooking the food, doing the boxes. My poor car, honestly, I'm surprised its wheels didn't buckle under the weight. But it was a lot of work. I had a bit of a break last week, didn't I, 2 weeks ago, and these guys pulled it together, and they've really got everything now in place. There's people cooking, there's people bring different bits. I still support them with food. I've got food in the car for you, by the way, for tomorrow. But yeah, now it's set up, and we've got this one done. We're then going to move on somewhere else, which starts on Monday. So we've got 2 new places that we're going to from now on. I won't be coming up to Leeds. I'll come up every couple of weeks and give you a bit of time.
Yeah,
but no, what we're going to do is, first of all, we've got Liverpool. George, Liverpool. We'll be working with George in Liverpool, setting a street kitchen up with him. We're just trying to get a group of people together at the minute, and we're going to have a bit of a walk round, aren't we, George, and see what the area's like and weigh that up. We're also, Monday night, we're going into Blackpool. We're meeting the Blackpool Gazette, who are going to do a bit of an article on us, try and get us some people, local people who want to come in and help. The situation in Blackpool is absolutely dire. It's really, really bad. There is not one street kitchen, not one outreach, and it's got one of the highest homeless problems, and they do nothing. There's the Salvation Army, and there's a couple of churches that do, they do food, but the awful thing is that you go in and you say, can I have some food, or I need a sleeping bag, and they say, go into that room and do an hour's class on God, not knocking religion, but you've got to go and do an hour's class about religion before you can get anything, and I think that's wrong. Because I don't think anybody should have religion rammed down their throat. You know, everybody's entitled to what they do. So it is a major issue. We've spoken to quite a few people in Blackpool. I am going to be working with somebody, Sandra, an ex-friend of... Paula. There's Sandra bits to come. I'm ahead of myself. Paula, yeah, she used to work with Hayden. She's absolutely brilliant. She's already been doing a lot of research for us. She knows the score because she worked with Hayden's outreach in this street kitchen. So I know at least I've got somebody who lives in the area. She's been around, she's spoken to homeless people, and we have an idea what we're going to do, where they're going to be, because in Leeds, if you're homeless, the police will give you a yellow card and you'll be kicked out of the area, and if they catch you twice, you'll get a red card. Hayden will tell you more about that when he speaks, but they've started to implement this in Blackpool now, so we're going to have to tackle that. So nobody's giving sleeping bags, nobody's giving any help at all, so watch this space. That's where I'm going to be with Sandra, working with Real Change and with Hayden's group as well, Homeless Partnership.
Is that this coming Monday?
Monday, yeah. This. If you, I'll find out for you. Are you on Facebook? The Book of Faces. If you can get in touch with me, I'll let you know. And if you'd love to come along and help us, that would be absolutely brilliant. Brilliant, mate. All right, love. So that's Blackpool. Liverpool, like I said, is the next one. We're going to be doing both of them from now on, but like I said, we've got to actually go and have a walk round. Me and George are going to pack some butties up and have a little bit of a walk round, talk to the homeless people there and see the best way to do that. Another thing that I'm also working on, I'm going to bore you a little bit, I just want you to understand the change that we've all made since the last meeting. We understand that there's a lot of people who go to food banks that are families that have no food. Now, you can't just target the homeless, you've got to understand that austerity is crippling everybody at the moment. So I'm setting up a scheme, starting in my local area, working with the food banks and the police and the council, where they will come to us once a fortnight and we'll do the same as we do in the street kitchen. Everybody who goes to the food bank will get a ticket, and then they can come to us. We've got the use of a church hall. They can come to us once a fortnight, where we will provide them with meals and whatever we get from Morrison's, you know, tins of soup, whatever, fresh fruit, the lot. So that's something that we're going to start in the next few weeks locally as well. So there's a lot of real changes happening in the future. But yeah, it's all good stuff. So, you know, when the last meeting, when we were saying this is what we were going to do, we don't talk the talk, we walk the walk, we make it happen. Watch this space, because the next couple of months is going to be awesome with 2 new street kitchens and this new scheme with the food banks. If anybody, obviously the next meeting we'll be looking for somewhere else, So if anybody wants us to come into your area, or you have a team that would like to work with us, then let me know and we'll make sure that we come and we do the same thing wherever you